Now I know why you had to do that last, and I got something in my eye. Yeah. No, this was a tremendous opportunity to share the love of Christ, and thank you for all who came out. Thank you for those who prayed. Thank you for those who brought lunch. There's many different ways that we can serve, and all of that was in full display yesterday. It was an amazing experience. There will be many more to follow. If you've met our Director of Missions, you know that this is just the beginning. Thank you, Erica, for everything that you do as well. How about a hand for that? But at some point, we do need to talk about Jesus in the Bible, so that's what we're going to do. How many people, I want to do an experiment here now, hear me through before you do anything. I'm going to take a survey, don't do anything yet. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much anxiety is in your life? I want you to score that in your mentally right now. I'm super anxious, there's a lot of anxiety around me, or I'm clueless. Think about that. Now I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and put your score up, because I don't want you to go, oh, I'm cool, I'm good, when you're really at this, right? As your pastor, I'm asking for a pulse check. How are you doing this morning? So I'm gonna ask you to close your eyes and put your score up. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much anxiety is in your life? Hold them up so I can see you, so I can count, I can tally, I can average. Okay, thank you very much, good. So some of you, the coffee bar is right over here. Kidding. There's a lot of anxiety out there. There is no getting around that. If you saw the news last night, somebody, again, tried to assassinate our president. All kinds of stuff's happening all the time. And I'm telling you that the only place that we can find rest in a world of unrest, this is good news, bad news. There's just one place to look, because there's just one answer. Anybody gonna guess? There we go. That was a softball across the plate. Today, we're talking about peace in anxious times. And I want to tell you about a friend that I had in college. We went through the ROTC together. We went into the Air Force together. We went to pilot training together. And this was a guy who was constantly after the next thing. I never knew someone who changed girlfriends more often, who chased every opportunity only to find it disappointing and quit. He actually didn't make it through pilot training, and he got another job in the Air Force and was not satisfied with that. It just, after thing after thing after thing. Eventually I lost track of him, but not before I heard one vital conversation. I heard somebody else, another of our college friends, we were all talking together right as he was leaving the pilot training thing. And this individual was complaining about how, I'm just always doing the next thing, and it's just always disappointing. And this guy says, there's one common denominator here. And he's talking about you. Wherever you go, you just bring this ball of disappointment with you. It's like what's the Peanuts character with who is that guy? Pigpen, thank you. Well, that's due to odor. But Pigpen could use a shower. But there's just always, no matter where he went, he was always going to find the disappointment in it. And he was the one common denominator. I would argue that he was not well anchored. His soul was not well anchored because he was blown about by every circumstance. He had no consistency in his life. And sometimes it almost felt like he was chasing inconsistency. You talk about a recipe for failure. I can't think of a better one if you want to fail, right? But we do this to ourselves. We do it all the time. And we even have technology that helps us do this. How many people are experts at doomscrolling? Yeah, man, I can get myself all worked up, man. Like I want to go fight somebody after looking at my phone. That can't be healthy, right? Bill, you're a pastor. I know, I'm working on it. I got issues. But this doom scrolling just gets in your head. And if your mind is anchored to your phone and the doom scrolling that happens, guess where you're going? Not down a good path. Not the abundant life that Jesus promises. You're probably headed to that big ball of disappointment. Or you can fill in your own blank. Maybe for you it's bitterness. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's rage. I don't know what it is, but it's all around us. You just have to watch the news for 5 minutes. You have to drive in traffic for 5 minutes. You just have to, you know what I'm talking about, right? Am I wrong in this? Am I the only guy that gets... Okay, well, wouldn't be the first time, right? So we doom scroll a lot. We get into this mindset. What I'm saying is our minds get anchored to that negativity. All right, and now this is nothing new, probably. So here's what we do. That's not what we do. This is what we do. We look for a new harbor. Well, clearly this place, this situation, this relationship isn't working out, so I'm looking for the next new thing. And then they go, just like my friend, to that new harbor, and guess what? The common denominator follows him, and he's right there again. And then there's got to be another harbor somewhere because this one isn't working. And you just go from harbor to harbor. Now, what's the harbor? Depends. It could be where you work. It could be the organization that you're volunteering in. It could be a relationship. It could be Union Chapel. Yeah, this place isn't working out. I'm really disappointed in that, Pastor Bill. Well, hey, if I haven't disappointed you yet, take a number. It'll happen. But I guarantee you, if we stick through this together, I'm going to show you by the end of today how amazing anxiety can be. I know, you think I'm off. Stick with me. It's going to work out. Trust me. So the reason that we're doing this, we're setting the stage here. We're going to read out of Isaiah. Now, what's happening in the chapter that I'm about to read? Isaiah and his people are under a great big threat. The Neo-Assyrian Empire, I just use big words like that so you know I actually went to seminary. It doesn't mean. Now, the Assyrian Empire, these guys are horrible. They're running over people. They're exiling people. They're smashing stuff. They're breaking things. They are very, very unfriendly people. And they're knocking on the door of Israel. And so there is real anxiety. And I'm not talking like doomscrolling. I'm talking like, no, we might be invaded at any second. We might be overrun, and they're going to take our best and deport them, and we're going to have to live under their rules. They're harsh, they're overbearing, they're not nice people. Real anxiety, not doomscrolling anxiety somewhere across the world that I can't possibly affect. And now you say, well, yeah, I guess they would have anxiety in their lives, but we don't have those issues. Really? Don't raise your hands, but how many people you have thought, well, my job might be replaced by AI? How many people have thought, wow, I thought this organization I was belonging to was squared away, and now they're not, and now I'm not happy? How many people are having relationship trouble? Yeah, we're human. We live in a fallen, broken world. And this is the way that it operates. We shouldn't be surprised that these things happen in this fallen, broken world, but what we can do is change where we anchor, what we anchor to, and how we anchor. You get the idea that today's about anchoring? Yeah, hold on to that, pun intended. All right, so we're going to be in Isaiah chapter 26, verses 3 and 4, and this is the question of the day. Where's your anchor? Understand everything that I just told you, this, and Noah, you're going to love this. This is a song. This is the lyric book to some song that we don't know the tune to, so make up your own tune. But this is a song that the nation is singing in the face of Assyrian possible invasion and destruction of their lives. They're singing a song. Listen to what they sing. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord himself, is the rock eternal. These are the words of God for the people of God, and for these words we are grateful. Did you hear that? They're about to be overrun. Their lives are about to be changed forever. They may not even survive, and what are they singing? You will keep in perfect peace? Are these people in touch with reality? Do they understand what's coming? The fact is they do. But they know something else as well. They know the faithful God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God who has promised them something, the God who promised Abraham long, long ago that you'll have descendants as many as there are stars in the sky. So yeah, there's bad news ahead, but there can be peace inside. How does that work? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. We're going to unpack that a little bit and see how we can take that into our lives. So here's a little bit of truth, some truth bombs for us. First, peace is not the absence of trouble. Did you hear that? Peace does not mean that there's no trouble. I think I mentioned before, we live in a fallen, broken world. Things are not as they should be. God knows that. The relationship for which we were created, to walk and talk with him in the garden, to have meaningful work, to be in coherence with his word. That's not exactly the world that we live in. Now, before we get all down on ourselves, understand that we've had a lot of history getting to this point. It's probably not going to change overnight, but Union Chapel is about to change the world. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Jesus Christ, through Union Chapel, is about to change the world. Are you ready for that magnitude of change? Because it's going to require some sacrifice from you. It's going to require you letting go of some things. It's going to require you to re-thread your head. It's going to require you to drop anchor where you're going to be dropping in rock, eternal. That's how they called God. How do we do that? It's not complicated, but it's hard to do in the moment. So if I drop an anchor in a boat and it's got waves all over, like the boat's rocking kind of thing, when I drop the anchor, do the waves stop? No. A lot of sailors in the crowd, I can tell. Look, I grew up in Missouri. How much ocean is there around that? Right? So, yeah, you drop the anchor. That doesn't mean the waves stop. The waves still come. We live in a fallen, broken world. Those waves are not stopping. So why do we bother to drop the anchor? Well, the anchor is going to do some things for us in the midst of those waves. So I want you to understand that even though we drop this anchor, the boat is still moving. The ground is still shifting. But something has changed fundamentally that we're going to get to. The other thing, the mind must be anchored. I don't know if you know this, but you are wired to have your mind anchored on something. That's the way God wired us. What was the whole point in the garden when he created us? To have companionship, to walk and talk. Our minds are wired to be in relationship with him. But somewhere along the way, that him has been displaced. And we have put other things that our minds are now anchored to. Maybe your minds are anchored to your finances. Maybe your minds are anchored to your reputation. Maybe your minds are anchored to your children. That's not a bad thing, but consider this. Those kids are going to grow up. It happens faster than you think. And if your mind is anchored and your identity is anchored in being that child's parent, what happens when they leave the house? Are you someone different? Do you still have purpose? You do. That's a short answer. You do. So our mind has to be anchored in the right place, that no matter what happens around us, we're going to be okay. Not only are we going to be okay, we're going to be awesome. Because Jesus Christ, through Union Chapel, is about to change the world. Are you ready for that kind of magnitude of change? All right, now we're talking. I was going to have to rely on the baby back there. All right. Next point. Anchor in the rock. Now, I'm not a professional sailor. That might be why I joined the Air Force and not the Navy. Because there's a lot of air over Missouri, but not a lot of ocean around it, right? So anchor in the rock. Now, if you drop an anchor, the anchor is going to do its thing. Anchors hold on to stuff. They keep you from drifting away. But if you drop in sand, for example, and you have strong winds or waves, that anchor is doing the best it can, but it's got nothing to hold on to. Don't drop your anchor in the sand, is the sailing lesson here. Drop it in the rock. Well, what's the rock, Bill? Let's see. Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord himself is the rock. And not just any rock, the rock eternal. And I'm not talking Dwayne Johnson. I'm talking the rock, the original rock, the OG rock. Right? That's the God that we serve. That's what I'm talking about. Anchor in that rock. Now, if you notice the way that it says it's the trust that anchors in the rock. The trust and the rock go together. So it's a relationship. That's what I'm getting to. So often we just pray to God for things. Like he's my bellboy, my vending machine. Dear God, please give me. I'm going to put in my prayer requests. I'm going to pull, and I'm going to wait for you to give me this thing I'm asking for. Who's God in that situation? Is he working for me, or am I working for him? It's not bad to ask for things. Again, in the book of things that Pastor Bill did not say, it's okay to ask God for things, all right? But just understand that he's going to give us what we need, maybe not what we want. And what we need is far better than what we want. I have learned this through a few trips around the sun. So understand that we're dropping in this rock, and this relationship of trust is what holds us. That's what our anchor is going to hold on to. The relationship based on trust. Can you trust God? Well, I don't know. There's a people here who are facing imminent invasion, and what are they doing? They're singing songs about trust to a God who has a history with them. Have things always been rosy? I don't know if you've read most of this before. There's a lot there before Isaiah. Was it always perfect for Israel? No. And yet they're still singing in trust. They're either clueless or they know something we don't. I'm going with the latter. They know something we don't. They know that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is trustworthy. His words that he speaks are true and trustworthy. Now, understand this. When you pray and your prayer does not come true, I'll go back to another sermon series we had for just a second. This always cracks me up. Well, God didn't answer my prayer. Yeah, he did, actually. He said no. Yeah. Most people say, well, God didn't answer my prayer means he didn't say yes to whatever I asked. God, please make me a millionaire. See, it didn't happen. You can't trust God. God knows what I would do with $1 million, and it wouldn't be pretty. So that's why I'm not getting $1 million, maybe. I don't know. So sometimes, yeah, there's no. Now, here's where it comes to the trustworthy part. Notice they don't say, we trust in the Lord because he likes us. It doesn't say we trust in the Lord because he gives us stuff. It says we trust in the Lord for he himself is the rock. So here's how you have to measure trust when it comes to the Bible. As you read this thing, you may or may not like what God does, and you may or may not like what God does in your own life. But here's the question to ask when it comes, can you trust God? Does he ever do anything in here that he said he would not do? The flip side of that is, does he ever not do something that he said he would do? Again, you don't have to like what happens. You don't have to even agree with what happens, but you can't deny he doesn't do anything that he said he wouldn't do. And he does do the things that he says he will do. Now, when we go against his will, that's on us. That's usually when I don't like it the most. When God's will is out there and I have a different one and I put my request in and it comes back different and that answer is no, hard pill to swallow. But I'm telling you, more trips around the sun and my ability to look back on the things that I asked for and God didn't give me. It's like that Garth Brooks song, thank God for unanswered prayers. See, even Garth fell for it. Thank God for unanswered prayers. I think he should change his song. Thank God for no answer prayers. Not no answer, but no as the answer prayer. That's the way it works. We don't have to agree. We don't have to like it. But God is trustworthy. And I say that because God has a great plan in mind. God has things that we don't even know about in mind. And God has a path for us to follow. And if we will do that, it will be good. Sometimes it's a little bit rocky. The waves are still there. They don't go away. But when we're anchored in that truth, we're going to have some stability that we didn't have before. So anchor in the rock, and that is that relationship. It's a person, not just a principle. See, the difference is God is a person. He's not some distant, uncaring person, thing. He is a person. Like when you talk about trust as a principle, like in principle, I can trust Chris. In reality, our relationship, yeah, I can trust Chris. So you thought I was going there, didn't you? We dress alike. We've got to trust each other. Yeah, and if you look at just a principle independent of a person, that's a head game. That's not something that you want to base your whole life on. But when you look at that as a person, can I trust this person? The answer unequivocally is yes. I have tried to not trust God. I have studied this book from appendix to maps. I've tried to not trust God. And I've never found where he did something he didn't say, did something that he said he wouldn't do. And I've never seen him not follow through on something he said, although it takes a long time sometimes. Even though I can't see the ending, doesn't mean that God hasn't already and planned for that. You get where I'm going? It's about trust. And you can trust God. Even our money says it. In who we trust? Exactly. Not the federal treasury, not the IRS. In God, we trust. Right? All right. So here's what we do. Let me back up for just a second. First of all, you have to identify, where is your anchor? Where does your mind go when anxiety hits? Sometimes we'll go to finances. Like, man, am I going to have enough money to make it through this? Sometimes we'll go to health. Man, I got to find the best possible doctor ever. How often do we do that in reaction, though? Right? Things are bad. We're about to hit the rocks, and all of a sudden, like, ooh, this is bad. I need to focus. I need to anchor my mind somewhere. What do I throw? I'm throwing out the anchor. Where? That depends. How are you trained? How have you trained your mind? Do you throw it out to the things of this world that are temporary? Do you throw your anchor in the sand where if the winds are strong enough, if the waves are big enough, you're just going to drift along anyway, just a little slower? You're just going to prolong your agony and death, right? So where do you toss your anchor? Where does your mind go? Identify that. How do you do that? Well, think back to your most recent anxious time. What was first and foremost on your mind? What was top of mind, as they say in the world today? What was it that you couldn't stop thinking about? And if the answer is anything except God, then we've got some room for improvement. I'm not saying be so Pollyanna that you're pie in the sky, your head's up here, and you're not taking care of earthly business. That's not being a good steward. That's probably a whole nother sermon series, in fact. What I am saying is underlying everything that we have, my first thoughts want to go to God. Can I trust him? Yes, I can. Anchor in that. Put your anchor there. Let your anchor hold and watch what will happen. Fix your focus. The reason I say this is there's other verses in the Bible that say, fix our eyes upon Jesus. There's even a song that we sing, turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of this earth will grow. Okay, we got some work to do on the classics. That's okay. The things of earth will go strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. The things that are temporary, that are sand, that are not going to stop you. The anchor of the rock is what will hold you. So there's a theme here, this anchor, and it's not that you need a new harbor. It's not that you need a new anchor. It's that you need to learn where to plant the anchor. And I am chief among you. I would like to say that I've got this wired, but there are times when, like I said, doom scrolling the phone, man, I want to go fight somebody. Pretty sure that's not the anchor Christ is looking. Well, maybe it is sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to go there. No, I'm tempted. I'm so tempted. And then learn to reset. If you realize that, hey, I am still drifting, I'm still a victim of what's going on here, and my mind is going a million miles a minute, reset in real time. If you go back to last week, if you missed last week, you can catch it on YouTube, but we talked about the idea of a breath prayer. A breath prayer is where I just take a deep breath. I actually trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. And I know some of you think, Bill, this is new age mumbo-jumbo stuff. No, it's body. It's physiological. It's the one that God fearfully and wonderfully made, and it responds because of the way he made it. If you take in the big breath, hold it for 4 seconds, let the breath out for 4 seconds, and say a breath prayer. So what's a breath prayer, Bill? Were you here last week? How many people remember the breath prayer part? Awesome. We're going to do it again. So here we go. Here's the breath prayer. Here's my favorite breath prayer, and here's the way that you prepare and you do it. You inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and you say one phrase. Mine is, be still and know, as you exhale, and you hold for 4 seconds. Try it with me. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale, be still and know. Hold. One more time. Hold. Be still and know. How many people's anxiety is a little lower now? How many people are about ready to fall asleep? All right, let's wake back up. Here we go. So here's what the breath prayer does. You find a phrase that means something to you. I have about 3 or 4 of these that I use based on the circumstance. This is my anxiety antidote. It comes from Psalm 46. So what you do is you study Psalm 46. So if I were to look in this is where I find that, be still and know that I am God. That is one phrase of this, but as you look through the rest of it, I'm just going to read a little bit to you of Psalm 46. Because when you've studied this enough, and it's in your head and your heart, and you say that one phrase, it brings everything else back to mind. It's like if I said, roses are red. See, you know that. It comes to mind because of one thing that I said. Check this out. This is the rest of it. God is our refuge and strength and an ever-present help in time of trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, the mountains quake in their surging. There's a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at the break of day. Nations are in uproar. Kingdoms fall. Does that sound familiar? He lifts his voice. The earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on this earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow, shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, be still and know I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. All that comes to mind with one simple phrase: be still and know. I'm not saying you have to use this one. I'm saying it's an example. I'm saying find the thing that resonates with you. I have, like I said, about 4 or 5, depending on what I need at the time. Do I need some courage? Do I need some strength? Do I need some staying power? Do I need some anxiety relief? Those are my main go-tos. If you want to talk about those, I'd be happy to share those later. Find one for you. Study the whole of it. Pick one phrase, put it to a breath, and watch what happens. It's amazing. It's got me through some really wild times. And it's not me, it's God. And I didn't make this up. I borrowed this from an ancient tradition. I'm not that smart. So reset in real time as a breath prayer is a great way to do just that. So, I know what you're thinking. Bill, there's too many rules. I don't like somebody telling me what to do. I don't want to have to ask God for everything. I don't want to have to do everything that God says. So therefore, I'm not going to toss my anchor down. Let me know how that works for you. This could be, you fill in your own blank here. This could be your workplace where there is no anchor. This could be your family. This could be your relationship. This could be a relationship between a child and a parent, parents and grandparents. It could be anything where that anchor is not on the rock. So ask yourself, not just, is this something that I want to do, but what result am I after? My favorite question in the world, to what end? To what end should I put my trust in God? To what end should I throw my anchor on that rock? To what end should I try to displace everything else into the secondary place so that my main focus is on that anchor, on that rock? To what end? Well, watch what happens if all the boats in the same harbor anchor. Now think about this for a second. You've got this as one possibility where no anchor was dropped, and then you've got the way that everybody does it right. Now this next slide is going to be Union Chapel, because did I tell you that Christ is about to do an amazing thing through using Union Chapel, and are you ready for that magnitude of change? Here's what happens. Notice I said the winds and the waves, they don't stop. They keep coming. But when you toss an anchor, time for visual aid. When you toss the anchor, let's say the winds and the waves are coming in this direction, and I've dropped an anchor. What happens? I get pushed. And then I don't get pushed anymore because I'm right in alignment. We talked about alignment last week. You can watch it on YouTube. Did I mention that? Yeah. So I am now aligned. Did the wave stop? No. Still going. Did the wind stop? No. But now I am aligned. And watch what happens to that same harbor, that same community of people through which Jesus Christ is about to do something amazing to. Have you ever seen an organization in alignment where everybody's pointing in the same direction, where we're all going down the same path? Can you imagine the synergy? Can you imagine what Christ could do with that? When every heart here is in alignment with his will, when we're all listening to what he has for us, because I'm telling you, there is something amazing happening here. All these people are pouring in. They need to know Jesus. Some of them do. Some of them are just looking for a place. Great. Have we got a deal for you? But some of them have maybe never heard of Jesus. They need to know. And not for our glory, not so we can put a counter of how many people we've got in the door, so that we can look like this. That's what I want. That's what I want for Union Chapel. That's what I want for me. That's what I want for my family. That's what I want for every family here and every family there. Imagine what the city of Fulshire, Fort Bend County, could look like if we were all aligned like this in the purpose of God. Can you imagine the magnitude of change that's coming if we anchor in the rock? Think about that for a second. Because I don't know that you necessarily need a new harbor. I don't think you need a new anchor. I think you need to find rest in God in a world of unrest. Let's pray. God, thank you for providing that peace, that perfect peace that passes understanding. I pray for every individual here that we're struggling with so much, God. There's so much information buzzing in our ear through our phones, through the internet, through every other thing that is trying to put ideas in our head. God, I ask you that you would help us to make those secondary, that you would help us learn to cast that anchor in the rock. Help us to understand that the rules and things that you put in place are for our benefit, so that when we are aligned, we're an unstoppable force for you. Nothing in this fallen, broken world can stop that. There is no weapon formed that will have any effect on that community. The community is of the city of God. She will not fall. He will uphold her. The Lord of hosts is with us. And the God of Jacob is our refuge. God, help us to find rest in that, in a world of unrest. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.